Long before we had a public school system where children were sent Monday through Friday, only the children of affluent families had education. So that meant there were many poor children who would grow up without education. Many of them were put into labor and worked over 12 hours a day until laws were passed to prevent it. The results of this situation led to crime and ignorance of moralities. In the 1780s, the churches in England became aware of this situation, and so they began offering classes on Sundays for these poor children, since Saturday was still considered part of the work week. They would teach them about the gospel and also the basics of education, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Since the classes were on Sundays, they became known as Sunday School. It became a movement by all denominations and spread to America as well. By the mid-1800s, Sunday school attendance was a near universal aspect of childhood. Even parents who did not attend church generally insisted that their children attend Sunday school. Working-class families were grateful for the opportunity to receive this education. Religious education, obviously, was always the core component, and the Bible was the textbook for learning to read. Spiritual practices were taught as well, such as prayer and hymn singing. Inculcating Christian values and morality was another goal of the movement. By the 1870s, though, compulsory state education was established in America and England, so reading and writing were learned in regular school Monday through Friday, and Sunday was only for religious education. Nevertheless, many parents continued to believe that regular Sunday school attendance was an essential component of childhood. This continued until the 1960s, when permissive parenting took hold. The widespread culture of sending your children to Sunday school, whether they wanted to or not, was abandoned. The earliest known Sunday schools at Trinity Methodist Episcopal were the separate men's Bible study and women's Bible study classes. These classes were very large.
And that's another long story, that the church started a radio station in 1928 with a license, one of the early ones from the Department of Communications, the national.
Wow.
For the church, for accreditation by law. From the very beginning, to broadcast, you had to have a license.
Yeah.
And the men's Bible class bought the small set of equipment to broadcast radio, and got the radio time and went on the air.
I didn't know anything about this.
The first
Did you know
they
this?
started commercial radio in El Paso.
Wow.
They had the men sold the equipment and the time slot that the Federal Communications, which was brand new, allotted to the station, to the church. They sold that to Carl Weiler, and they opened up in the basement of Tri-State Music downtown, and that's where they got KTSM, their call letters. And
Wow.
so.
Okay. After many years of meeting separately, some married couples in Trinity wanted to have a class where they met together. So the Gowan-Jones class for couples was created, and shortly after that, the wedding band class. So, well, since we're there, tell us about the beginning of the wedding band class. So, beginnings, was it already in progress when you arrived?
Yeah. when Mary Lou and I were married in 1952, the class had been already organized for at least 5 years, back in the late 1940s.
Okay,
Young couples in the class.
all right. And so it was always the most significant class at Trinity, or?
Not necessarily. It was a good class, the largest of the married couples classes, but the original two classes in the church were, of course, the men's Bible class and the women's Bible class.
Okay, all right.
And that was from time immemorial.
All right, but it was a large class, and it had a
Yes.
heyday of
Oh, yeah, we would have 110 people on Sunday morning.
in the. So I mean, you had to meet in the
In
basement.
the undercroft at the time. The basement,
Yeah.
the undercroft of the church.
I still don't know how you got 110 people down there, but
Oh, easily, yeah, because at that time, the room was entirely clear from the stairs coming down from the sanctuary all the way to what was the men's Bible class, the last room that was the food pantry.
the food pantry, right? Okay,
The whole center, it's easy to, it would easily seat
okay.
that many.
And now it's the choir room and the handbell room. So that's what you're talking about, is those
Yes.
two rooms right there were one room.
Choir and the handbell room and the bell storage, and
What about the bathrooms over there? Were they there?
they were there,
They were there, okay, all right.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, any memorable events that you want to talk about in the, of the wedding band class? Were there any?
No, not necessarily anything outstanding, you know, it has gone on for so long. I had no particular celebrating instances. We never realized when we'd been going for 50 years, something like that.
Right,
It was just always there and always supplied a lot of leadership to the rest of the church.
yeah, yeah, that's a good one.